The rest day for the cars here in Antofagasta. Anything but a rest day for the mechanics, though. Not quite so sure that Segway was going to get through the longest stage of the rally yesterday. No, it was just a bit of transport. Volkswagen, well, they held court. 1, 2 and 3 for the Volkswagen runners. Carlos Sainz at the moment in charge. Nasser Al-Attiyah in second place. Reigning champion Janil de Villiers not having such a good rally after the problems with his injectors earlier on. But leader Sainz saying we're the first and we've got an 11-minute advantage. But it's only halfway through the rally. Nasser and Mark Miller are pushing hard. And as we know with this Dakar, it's very easy to go from hero to zero. I'm happy, but I'm being prudent and calm. Nasser Al-Attiyah in second place. He was victorious on the stage yesterday. Here catching up with former Dakar victor Jackie Ickx, who won it in the 80s in a Porsche. Can Al-Attiyah spring the win on his teammates?
It will be now start for pushing a lot, but not crazy thing, but push where we find ourselves is good, like what I did yesterday in the sand dunes. From beginning I was push and leading the all 45 kilo, and I'm quite happy what I do.
Over at BMW, maybe they've now got the fastest car on this rally after the development from Stefan Pederhansel and Nani Roma. Pederhansel was leading overall were it not for those prop shaft problems, and Pederhansel best of the rest with his teammate Shishirit. Pederhansel saying, I'm not going to give up. 2 days ago we were 10th, today we are now 5th. We'll try and be as fast as we can to do and get the best result each day. If we can win and get up there with the VWs, then maybe they'll make a mistake because they're fighting together. Maybe we'll be back on the podium. I don't want to finish this rally by taking it easy during the second week. I'm going to attack. Carlos Souza, a last-minute deal for him with the Mitsubishi squad. He is in 7th position overall with his teammate Guilherme Spinelli from Brazil, just 1 spot behind. Souza saying, we'll have to now push hard and take some risks. The diesel cars are unbeatable, and our aim is to finish and finish behind them. Not far though. Leading privateer is that of Krzysztof Holowicz, the Polish former WRC driver. I think our strategy for the end of the rally is clear, to be quick but safe. We're going to have the least technical problems as possible, and then we'll have a better chance to improve on our last year's results. Strugo, he continues to lead in T2, whilst in the trucks it was a big day for the mechanics. Rain greeted the cars during their first half of this 2010 Dakar rally. Horsepower was an issue, but sometimes it was quite elegant. Everybody came into this rally thinking that the Volkswagens would win right from the word off, and with 5 of them entering, well, it was pretty well bets off right from the word go. Nasser Al-Attiyah won on the damp stage through stage 2 and was immediately on the pace. A new team for Al-Attiyah this year, the Volkswagen, not the BMW of 12 months ago. Robbie Gordon, he was flying, sometimes a little bit too much, so lucky to get away with not hitting a rock on the second stage. The Hummer, spectacular as always, but slightly struggling with the 2-wheel drive against the 4-wheel drives on the tight stuff. Once he was out there in the desert, he was quick and he was winning stages. Reigning champion de Villiers, he had fuel injector problems and he lost 3 hours on one day. He was out of the front running. Stefan Pederhansel was leading after the 3rd stage, the BMW really finding the pace together with his teammate Nani Roma. Roma won the 1st stage, but only 24 hours later rolled off the 2nd. Amazingly, he only lost a quarter of an hour with that tumble. Once he got back on the road, he was still in with a shout. His teammate Gerland Shishirit was struggling. He lost nearly an hour on the very first stage. Electrical problems there. 24 hours after Roma had gone off the road, he went off it properly, going over a hill and completely destroying the suspension of his BMW. He was out. Then Peter Hansel took the lead, and only a day later it was his chance to go backwards. A prop shaft broken, and he lost 2¼ hours. He dropped to 10th. So of the Volkswagens that were now 1, 2 and 3, which one was going to be in the lead? We had Nasser Al-Attiyah battling with Carlos Sainz, Mark Miller in there. These problems for Janil de Villiers lost him over 3 hours. So a Volkswagen surely going to win this year's event, but the question is, which one? Sainz nervous, he's yet to win a Dakar rally. Nasser Al-Attiyah may be a little bit better at the dunes in the second half of this rally. Who knows who's going to win? And BMW will be there to pounce if there is a problem for the Germans from Wolfsburg. Orlando Terranova, he went off on exactly the same corner as Nani Roma. The darling of the Argentine crowd is back in the rally. Guillaume Spinelli on the Mitsubishi was up there as well, the Brazilian in only his second Dakar. Problems for Christian Lavalle as well. Lavalle, who struggled but is on the bubble of the top 10. Birthday boy Alfie Cox was 5th overall, but then was out on his birthday. Robbie Gordon won a stage. He won it spectacularly as always. He then fought through the field on the way up towards Iquique. But he lost time with tyre problems and then alternator problems, dropping him back down the order, 10th position for the American. Leading privateer Krzysztof Holovic in the South African-built Nissan, whilst Leonard Nowitzki from Russia was again inside the top 10. He was 9th. So Carlos Sainz gets to the rest day with an 11-minute lead. He may have had navigational problems on the way to the rest day on the longest stage, but then everybody had navigational problems in the first part of a 600-kilometre thrash down the Pacific coast. Nasser Al-Attiyah was victorious when they came into Antofagasta. Al-Attiyah winning his 6th Dakar stage. Al-Attiyah now beginning to really turn the wick up. Stefan Pederhansel, he was quick. He's in 5th position in the overall standings behind his teammate Gerland Schischeritz. Will the BMWs be able to edge onto a podium step? Meanwhile, Jean-Pierre Strugo continues to lead in T2, whilst as always on the Dakar, there are 100 stories of pain every day. People getting stuck, people in trouble. It was just a non-stop story. Volkswagens 1, 2 and 3. Sainz from Al-Attiyah from Miller. Schischeritz and Pederhansel split only by, well, half a minute. 6th was Holovic. Souza and Spinelli with the Mitsubishis. Nowitzki and then Gordon on the bubble of the top 10. The trucks, they had their first week of the Dakar battling through the desert. Reigning champion Firdaus Kabirov, he always put on a good show. And so did Alice Leprace. Coming out of Buenos Aires though, Leprace was a little bit too quick and he destroyed the suspension of his truck on the right-hander. And try as he may a day after to continue, it was not to be. Leprace was out. That left Andre D'azevedo in charge of the Kamaz run against. Got to do it all again. Sorry everybody, we've got to do this again. That is absolutely right, here are the trucks. Firdaus Kabirov came into this year's Dakar as the reigning champion. The Russian with his Kamaz headed the blue squad as the crews left Buenos Aires on their run over the Andes mountains into Chile. 7 stages ahead of them, and really the man who was going to battle the blue Kamaz was the yellow Tatra of Alas Leprace. But unfortunately it all went wrong for the Czech Republic driver. He was out early on, suspension being ripped from his Tatra. Therefore the Tatra charge was left to Andre d'Azevedo. D'Azevedo continuing on to try and battle those Russians. Into the desert, and the trucks got into absolute top gear. At times they were beating nearly 75% of the cars at a stage finish. Their pace was just electrifying. Come the rest day though, it was Chagin who was in the lead by over an hour from his teammate Firdaus Kabirov. Kabirov got a lot of work to do to try and keep his crown. Third position was the Dutch Run Ginaf of Marcel van Vliet, but he was another 3.5 hours behind the Kamaz crew. The trucks were terrifying for the rest of the crews that were still out there on the stages, but we've got to give a shout out to Yoshimasa Sugawara, who's 10th at the moment with his Hino. That's his 27th Dakar start for the Japanese. Le Mans 24-hour victor Jan Lammers was doing the Dakar in a truck. He went off on the very first stage, and try as he may, had trouble getting through the big stage towards the rest day. Next up is stage 8. We go south from Antofagasta, returning to Copiapo, a big stage of 472 kilometres and big dunes as well. It's going to be another difficult day for everybody before we return back over the Andes towards Argentina and the Atlantic coast and Buenos Aires, where the champions will be crowned. 7 stages down, 7 stages still to go. We will have 2 important stages, with tomorrow having many dunes at the end of the stage. Down towards Copiapo, the big dunes then will be afterwards, from there to La Serena. These 2 stages will be very hard for the crews, and after that they can relax a little towards the finish. Not an easy finish, but without any major problems, they'll be okay in Buenos Aires. The second half of the Dakar continues. Who will be victorious?